Hi everyone, Ola here from dolldivine.com with a continuation of my Flash tutorial. It's a little late, but late is better than never, right? Last time we learned just how to draw in Flash and make lines, and now we have also upgraded to Adobe Flash CS 5.5, which I actually don't love so much, but technology drives you forward. What we're going to learn today is Movieclips. Because everything sort of in Flash revolves around this concept of symbols and movie clips. And it's like, what in the world is that? Well, let's make a box. We have a sort of box color. Okay, and now I am going to right click on this and go to convert to symbol. And I'm making a symbol. What is that? Okay, well, so I name it something. Brown box. And I have the option of 3 types of symbol. Most of the time you're going to be making a movie clip, but I'll explain all 3. And it asks you for where's the registration. That's sort of its reference point. We'll just go to the top left. I'll show you what that is in a second. So see, now there's the box I made, but it's got a little blue outline around it. Now see, if I make another one, just draw one, you'll notice some differences. When I highlight this, it's all dotted. When I click on this, it just has blue all around. I can go to the newly made box and kind of stretch it and warp it and stuff, but this one it won't let me. All it does is kind of lets me move it around. Now that's because this brown box is inside of a box called a symbol, and this one is not. It's unprotected. It's just flailing out there by itself. What I could do is I can right click on this, and then you see how it's zoomed in like whoosh? That's because we have gone inside the box. And up here at the top it says, it always tells you where you are. So before we were just on scene 1, basically just our movie. We double clicked, whoosh, we zoomed in inside brown box. Alright, this, if we double click, nothing happens because it's already sitting there naked on the stage. This is the stage where everything happens. So what's cool though is all of our symbols are gathered in the library. And again, if you don't see any of the windows I have, go to Window and find the respective ones, and you can drag them around, put them wherever you want. So here's the library, and there's the one we made, brown box. So if I go here and I delete this warped guy, I can't really do anything to get it back except, you know, edit undo. But if I delete this, that's okay. It's still remembered here. So number 1 advantage of making a symbol is it sits there unless you choose to delete it. Okay, but that's just a nice bonus. What you can also do though is if I drew a whole bunch of boxes and I save the file, the game is going to have to remember every single one of them and use memory for every one of them. But if I go like this and I'm holding down the control button while I drag, and that makes more copies. If I save this file, it'll just remember the brown box movie clip, and it'll know to use it 5 times, but it'll remember it once. So it helps if you have the same thing appearing many times. Symbols can help you save on memory. And if you're really fancy and you're doing stuff like, you know, making a game where you actually start out with nothing and then things appear as you play, then of course, then you really need these things to be in the library because they come out of nowhere, and only with code you tell them to appear. There's a few more advantages. For example, I'll make a bunch of these. Now if I go inside the box and change something here, you'll see they all change because I made a change to the actual fundamental box. But if I do something on the outside, now I can't make those same kind of stretchy changes, but I can do other things. I can warp it with the transform tool. Now you see the other ones aren't changing. This is because I'm changing this instance of the symbol. There's a lot of new words you got to learn here. This is a symbol, specifically a movie clip, and these are instances of it. You know, wherever it appears, it's called an instance. So if I make change to the instances, that doesn't affect that symbol directly. I can add a filter. Sorry, you can't see what I did there, but I added a color filter. I could change this one's color. What else can I do? I can warp it. I can turn it. You know, all sorts of stuff, and it stays the same on the inside. But again, if I go inside of any of these and make a crucial change somewhere inside, then they all change. So this actually is kind of important for doll making games, because you can take a shirt and have it as a symbol and then add different color effects to that shirt, or make smaller or bigger versions. So I promised you I would make other types of symbols. Now I can make, let's make a circle. I can also make, convert to symbol, a button. A button is also a type of symbol, but what it is when you double click and go inside of it and you go to your timeline, it has different things that it does in different states that are already programmed in. It's actually sort of pretty much a movie clip, but with extra functionality that you don't have to do yourself. So up is what happens when I think it's just sitting there, which doesn't make much sense, but now I'm going to right click on the next frame. These are sort of like moments in time. So this is in the up frame on this layer is what happens when the button's sitting there. I'm going to right click here and insert a keyframe, meaning that I want to do something different here. It'll just copy and paste stuff from that frame. I can make changes. Maybe I'll just drag it to be really weird. And this is what happens when the mouse goes over it. And down is what happens when you click down. I don't really do anything new for that, so I just right click and say insert frame, and it just stretches whatever's here, so it does the same thing on down. I'm going to press Control Enter, and it's going to test my movie. So right now I'm not touching it, it's in the up frame. Now I'm going to go over. Blah, woo. The hit frame tells the button where the sensitive part is. So you can sort of do tricky things here, like you can delete this and tell it to only be sensitive on this one spot. So I'm going to test my movie. I can see it there, but it won't react to my mouse until I go on that dot, which, oh geez, where did I, oh, there, I found it. So it's only sensitive in that one spot. And you're like, oh, well, what's the point of that? But you can do such neat things with it. Like, for example, say you're drawing a necklace for a doll. You know, I got this necklace here. In the up frame, I'm going to leave it the same for the over this time. I'm going to say clear keyframe to clear out what I had before and just fill in with what's up there. I'm going to make a change now, so I'm going to right click and say insert keyframe. Okay, now there's the necklace, but I want this to be sensitive over a much thicker area, so I draw exactly where I want the mouse to react. Control Enter to test my movie. And now, ooh, little beads of necklace, but oh, it's sensitive. You can see it turns into a hand not only when I go over the beads, but also when I go near the beads. So that's where you might be using this. Now I'm going to double click anywhere outside of my drawing area to get out and zoom out of my symbol. And again, I made a button. You can see it is here in the library. It's called Aqua Ball. It has a little different icon to tell you that it does have a different function. So I can delete this instance on the stage because the symbol, the button symbol, is already in the library. And there is a third type of symbol, convert to symbol, called a graphic. And graphic is a lot like a movie clip, except you can't make as many changes to it. So you can't add filters on it, you can't later on tell code to do anything with it. A graphic is pretty much just a graphic. If you want something and you just want to give those properties of sitting in the library and having multiple instances, just make it a graphic because it takes up less memory than a movie clip. But if you suspect at all they're going to be doing anything to it, like changing the shape from the outside, if it's going to be in a dress-up game and it's going to be a shirt that's going to move around, then it has to be a movie clip. Usually most things are movie clip. It's very rare that you have a graphic, so just don't worry about that. Now, there are some crazy things that we can do here. Like, we can take the brown box and put it here. And now we can right click on this and convert this to a symbol. I'm gonna go in my timeline, lock the layer that has the movie clip on it. Underneath, I'm gonna add a little background just so I see where I'm at. So now we have this thing, this movie clip called Bigger Brown Box. We double click to whoosh, go inside of it, and in here we have just this bit of brown box, and on the separate layer here we have our other movie clip nested inside of it, and we can double click whoosh, and zoom inside that, and now at the top you can see we're inside scene 1, inside Bigger Box, in, well, the scene which contains Bigger Brown Box, which has brown box in it. Whoosh! And we can get kind of complicated like that. Or we can go inside Bigger Brown Box and we can make 3 instances of the brown box. As you can see, you can make quite a mess if you are set to. And indeed, this is a concept that you will need for dress-up games because, you know, usually the doll is one movie clip. You go inside her, and then like her shirts are another movie clip, her pants are another movie clip. Go inside that, and maybe you have even more movie clips in there because you have jewels that you want to change the color of and whatnot. Some other things you can do with your movie clips is you can go in the menu, the library, and change the name. The names are displayed here alphabetically, so right now it doesn't seem to matter, but when we get hundreds and hundreds of movie clips, which you will on a proper project, it helps them alphabetically. You can also make folders. And put things into the folder to organize it. I'm usually too lazy, but you should be doing that if you're a responsible designer. You can access things in multiple ways. You can find them in the library and drag them down, or you can go into the library and double click on them, and this will kind of, it says scene 1, Bigger Box 2, but really you're just kind of in this magical floating land which just highlights the bigger brown box. Or for example, we go to this one, there's nothing else around except that movie clip. It's good if you want to just focus on that movie clip without distractions. And you can click to scene 1 to go back to scene 1. And something else that we're definitely going to be using later is instance names. So we have our movie clip symbol, we dragged an instance down, or 3. In your properties panel, there, once you click on an instance, there is something you can put in called the instance name, where you give your instance a name. Because right now these guys are all identical. How do we know which one we're talking about when we tell, maybe this shirt to turn green or something? So we're going to give this a name and call it Boxy 1. I'm going to call this Boxy 2. I'm going to call this Boxy 3. And this doesn't seem to have much of a point right now, but you will see down the line that giving them names to distinguish them will be very important. Yeah, that's it for movie clips, buttons, and graphics.